Hey everybody, it's episode 349 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, and you got it right this time. You didn't get confused.
No, I'm actually sort of more paying attention to the intro than I was for last week.
Well, there you go. You messed something up, so we're good.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Not too bad.
I'm doing fine.
Other than you're suffering and uncomfortable.
I'm suffering. Look, we're having a strange hot day in New Jersey in the middle of spring, so it's not really that strange actually.
Look, man, we haven't. I was going to say we haven't had a regular spring in like 30 years.
No, we haven't. So it reached close to 90, or not close to. Apparently, it reached 90. I didn't realize. I didn't know it was going to be like that bad. So I've just been suffering a little bit, but it's getting better.
It is. We're getting there. So we're going to jump right into it with something about a coconut in Team Fortress 2. Richie, take it away.
Yeah. So actually, I believe it was a former listener and emailer, I don't know if he still listens to the show, David, who posted this on his Facebook that I had seen and researched a little bit, and it kind of blew my mind, and I thought this is like just a stupid fun discussion topic. There is apparently in the source code and everything a coconut JPEG in Team Fortress 2 that if you delete the JPEG, the game does not run.
Interesting, but...
Yeah. Like, apparently there's so many things connected to that coconut JPEG that, like, it breaks something at the end game to get the game to run.
Which is super weird, and it makes you wonder, like, is this some sort of, like, primitive, like, DRM sort of thing that they threw in there? Mm-hmm. Or are the Valve devs just so bad at coding that that happens?
Are they that bad at coding, or are they geniuses at coding?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I meant. Like, if it's, like, a purposeful, like, DRM tactic of, like, well, if this one file isn't there and it's not the exact right file, then it's pirated and it's not going to work, versus they had a coconut at some point in the game, like an image of one, and the way that they coded it is just so ass backwards and spaghetti that happens when you remove it.
Yeah, and somebody on the Reddit post mentioned code spaghetti about this. Like, it's just like a source spaghetti monster is what they called it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, it could be that. Because I don't think there's coconuts in Team Fortress 2. But, like, this image of a coconut doesn't even look like a digitally rendered image. It looks like kind of just a camera shot of a coconut on a gray background.
So it could have been like something still from the game. Like, it could have been like, I've never played Team Fortress, so I know what it is, but I don't really know much about, like, inside the game. But it could be like something that on a character skin, or like on a background or a billboard or something like that. Like, it could have actually been an image in the game.
Yeah, maybe. I've only played Team Fortress 2 a handful of times. And I don't remember seeing a coconut unless it's like somebody's spray or something that you can
like something like that
much immediately. But I thought this was ridiculous, and like, because news has been lacking lately, I figured it'd be a nice little fun opening discussion topic. Well, honestly, thought we were going to put it at the end if based on time, but
I just threw it on right off the top. Fuck it.
Yeah. I thought it was just a nice little fun, stupid discussion topic.
It is really weird. It just goes to show how broken some games are when it comes to their source code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's what happens when you have that many different people kind of with their hands in things.
Yeah.
And like that game is old enough now that, like, I feel like studios have gotten probably better about commenting and keeping the code repositories as neat as possible. But like, this was an Orange Box game, right?
Yeah.
So this is like 07, 08, 07?
Yeah. And this coconut was discovered like 7 months ago or something like that, within the past year.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like, in 2007 when they were doing this, like, who knows how much people were really taking care to comment things and make sure that calls to one thing wouldn't impact something else. Like, it's stuff like that is why some, like, older games, when they were patched, like, such major issues would pop up. Because, like, you patch one thing, it changes something minor, but that minor thing is actually in control of, like, 12 major things.
Yeah.
Computer science is hard, guys. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I only took, like, 3 or 4 courses in college with it, and yeah, it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, and doing something interactive is even harder. Like,
Yeah.
I like in college, like I did a bunch of like random number generators and like rudimentary calculators and stuff like that were kind of intense to like figure out.
Yeah.
Doing something where you're moving characters in like a 3D space, like fuck that.
One of my projects I had to do in college was a coin counting machine. So it had to give out the cash or the change. So you put in like how much it was worth, and you put in how much they paid, and it would actually have to tell you how many quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies that they would get. So I had to create a program for those coin machines that you see at like Wawa or McDonald's.
Okay. Yeah, we had to, in one of the classes I took, I know we had to do a thing that converted regular numbers into Roman numerals, which was like not super hard, but we couldn't just have it be like a one, like it had to be done like as a process. It couldn't just be like the number 1 equals I, the number 2 equals II. And then we also had to do a craps game.
Okay.
Like it was all text based because it was just C++.
Yeah.
Like command line output, but yeah, like we had to like program in like the rules of craps and like basically a random number generator for the dice and everything.
Me and Jordan made a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rochambeau in high school.
Oh, fucking yes.
Yeah. We had a programming class together my freshman year. Right? It was my freshman year? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my freshman, his senior, and it was like our final project, and he was like, you can work with somebody. And so I looked at Drew, was like, you want to make Yu-Gi-Oh? And Drew's like, yeah. So we made Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, you're the only person I've ever heard call rock, paper, scissors Rochambeau.
I mean, normally I call it rock, paper, scissors, but it was more of Rochambeau than rock, paper, because it's like, it's not just like it's like this number beats that number, and I think we have like 60 cards, so there was...
Fuck, I remember nothing of it.
Yeah, I think we had like 60 cards, so it was, I don't know how many different numbers of possible combinations, so it wasn't just like, it was more intricate, because like, it was like, it had to take this number and that number, figure out which one was higher, that one would win, and so it wasn't necessarily rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's a little different then. But yeah. Programming's hard.
It is. I want to try to get back into it and like just futz around with it myself, maybe take a class. Because like I did remember having fun with it, but...
It's only fun until you hit a wall and you can't figure something out.
Yeah.
Or like you have it all done and the output's still wrong and you just want to throw everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that is a very weird thing for people to find 14 years later-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, other than that, I tried those demos that came out with that Indie World event thing from Nintendo.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was Chris Tales and Aerial Knights Never Yield were the two. Never Yield was it was just the auto runner.
Yeah,
right.
Which, like, it's a good auto runner. Like, I am not a huge fan of those games. Like, I find them a little just boring.
Yeah.
I think this one did some cool stuff with just what's going on around you. There wasn't any sort of like narrative, but you can tell that there is supposed to be like a story that you're inferring through what's going on. The visuals are really cool looking. The music's really good. The biggest problem I ran into was it's a little too easy in at least the first 2 levels that are available in the demo. I don't know how much further it goes beyond that. But every time you're coming up to an obstacle that you either have to jump over, jump through, or slide under, it slows down and really gives you a lot of time to make your decision. Rather than it kind of like moving quickly and you having to really be on your game to do the right thing.
Yeah,
and
like how most of those like auto runners, it gets faster the further you go.
Yeah, and I don't know if this game does do that because it was only the first 2 levels. But it's basically like it's 4 buttons. Like you can use the D-pad or like the face buttons, and it's just up is like an up and X, I guess it is on the up and right X X
yeah
up and X is like a high jump to jump over a thing. Left and Y would be a sort of like flip jump that you would use to like jump through windows or jump like in between two things that like you couldn't necessarily jump over. B and down would be a slide under things, and then right and A is sort of like a run faster if like you're on like a conveyor belt going the other direction, or if like there's heavy wind blowing against you. But like the game gives, again, just in these first two levels at least, the game gives you a lot of cues for everything that's happening, between it showing you on the screen what button to press early on, and then each obstacle has like its own color that kind of goes around it as you're coming up to it, so you know which button to hit. Yeah. And the buttons match the colors if you have like the colored face buttons sort of thing, I believe. Unless I'm thinking of Xbox. I could be thinking of Xbox.
You're probably thinking of Xbox. I don't think there's colored.
No, mine are colored, but I just realized I have a custom shell on mine. So
yeah,
it just happened to work out that the colors match my button layout. So never mind that bit. But it was cool. I don't know that I would necessarily spend $15 on it, because it is just a runner. But it might actually get more complicated and detailed the further you get into it. Like I said, there is a lot going on the screen at any given moment.
Okay.
So, and then the other one was Chris Tales, which was that turn-based RPG.
Right.
That was actually a pretty significant demo too. It probably at least an hour. It could be more or less depending on like how quickly you just kind of like streamline through things.
So it's like 3 hours for me, because I'm gonna.
Yeah, it might be like I took my time with it, but you probably will take more time. There's also like. You have some like decisions that you have to make in the demo on like what person to help and what person to leave to their own devices and stuff like that. You get an idea of what's going on in the story. You meet like at least your first couple of main characters, and you get to mess with the combat a little bit. And the combat is neat. So it's they talked about it in the stream for it, but you can either just regularly attack people. And characters do get like magic skills and stuff like that too. But your main character has the ability to like time shift. So anything that's to the right of you, you can shift forward in time, so make it older. Anything that's behind you, you can shift backwards in time and make it younger. So that could, be good or bad for you. So in the demo, you actually do have a boss fight. And what happens in the boss fight is it's like these twin things that have this giant impenetrable metal shield. The person you're fighting with has a water attack. So you actually have to hit the shield with a water attack to get it wet, and then use the age on it so that it rusts. And then it's rusty and you can actually attack through it.
Okay.
But when you do that, the enemies actually become stronger because they're like these magical beings, so they actually got stronger with age. They didn't like get old and wither up and die. But if you revert that back to like the present day, their shield is just back up and you can't do anything, and they can just attack you with no problem.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's a neat battle system.
Yeah, and there's like an attack and parry system to it. So if you time your attack correctly and hit the button, you'll double attack. If you time a parry correctly when you're being attacked, you will either parry it and like reduce the damage, or in some cases block it and actually mitigate it almost all the way. Which was nice because like the bosses actually were hitting pretty hard, and they were hitting multiple times in a row. So if you weren't parrying that, like you were basically just you were running through the few health potions you had very quickly.
Yeah.
And as you're walking around the world, like the screen, the way the screen is set up is you get like a triangle basically, and everything in the middle of the triangle is present day. That's like what you're actively able to see. And then anything that's on the left of the triangle is the past, and anything on the right is the future. So like when you're walking by people, you might see them like when they were younger or older. In different situations. So there is there's like an alchemist person. They use a different word for it, I think, but that's the closest thing I can think of. And it's like her father's store. So if you're standing in the middle of the screen and you can see it from the left, you can see her father as like an older man in like a chair outside of the store, and her as like a younger girl standing there. And then when you transition over, the father disappears and it becomes the woman. And then if you keep going, her shop actually gets like all dilapidated and run down in the future.
Okay.
So it's a lot of cool kind of like imagery going on with that stuff.
Yeah, that seems pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely that is actually one game that I believe it comes out in July, and I'm going to keep an eye on that because I might pick that up because it was a type of game that I could see myself sinking a lot of time into. Mm-hmm. And the art style is very, very nice.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty game. So Drew, how's your new PC?
Way fucking better than my old PC.
That's what happens after a decade.
Yeah, it's also way smaller, which I didn't really expect. Like,
did you have a full tower before?
Yeah, this
one's a mid tower.
I'm gonna guess. Yeah, but like I didn't expect it to be a mid because like it's a Dell G5, I think is what series it is, and it doesn't. I don't remember it really saying anything about the size of the case.
I think for the most part, at least from what I've seen, like everything is kind of a mid tower. Unless it says like a small form factor or micro, you have to really go out of your fucking way to find a full tower.
Yeah.
Unless you're ordering from like Origin or something like that, where like that is just one of the options they have.
But have played a little bit of Valorant is the kind of only new thing I've played that I hadn't really played on my old PC. I tried playing it once with my brother and his friends, but like it ran real shitty. Or well, it ran at like a solid 30 at super low settings. Like it wasn't terrible, but I was like over 100 frames per second at 4K on my new PC. A little bit of a difference.
Just like a minor one.
And yeah, like shit loads so much faster. Like was playing Diablo 3, there's basically no load times.
So what do you have? Your OS is on an NVMe disk, and then you have like a separate spinning disk drive for like file?
Well, there's a 256 gig NVMe in there and a 1 terabyte hard drive, like standard spinning hard drive.
Yeah.
16 gigs of RAM, 10th gen i7 10700, I believe it was, and RTX 20 Super. So relatively new. Like 2060 is a like 2019 card, I think it was.
I thought it was a little older than that, but even then, like. There's only been one other like they've only really had one generation since then.
The 2060 Super might have been 20 or 29.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
But yeah, like I'm debating getting PC Game Pass, or at the very least trying it out for a month. But like we've got fucking new furniture coming for our living room next week. So
oh, nice! Congratulations.
Yeah, new furniture we bought like 2 months ago, but I've just been waiting for it. Bob's. We have friends that also apparently got ordered furniture from them in like January and just got it like.
Oh, that's insane! Like that must be like pandemic stuff because that's where we got our furniture from, and it showed up like the following week.
Yeah, it's quite possible. So this weekend spent a lot of reorganizing the living room so that can get fit in.
But you know what? The nice thing with Game Pass is like even if you just dip in and out of it, like. When there's something you want to play, like you spend $15 to play it, and then when you're done that month, like just cancel the subscription and dip back in when you want to play something else.
Yeah. They have a $1 for the first month thing, and I kind of don't want to waste it at all, you know? So I want to wait till I have like a free weekend to make sure I start it.
That makes total sense.
Sometimes you can get deals where it's like $1 for like 3 months.
Yeah, I'll definitely see once I have. I'll probably start that next weekend. There's not a ton on there that I'm like that interested in playing, but then at the same time there's stuff where it's like, well, I'm paying $1. Sure, maybe I'll try Fallout 76 for $1. You know?
Yeah, and you can even dip into like older games that you probably never really got to play that like were maybe Xbox exclusive or something like that. Like you could go and play like the Halo games or Gears of War if you were inclined to.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4 and Motorsport 7 are on there.
I mean, Forza Horizon would be a good game to like test out just how good things look on the PC.
Yeah, that's true.
Like crank it up and just see how much you can get out of it before like your computer just can't handle it.
Yeah. I don't remember if I actually went and messed with the video settings in Valorant, but in Diablo I went and turned all the settings all the way to high and turned the frame rate max up to 200, and I'm pretty sure running at the.
Oh, probably. Especially like, what is that game? 9 years old now? 2012, right?
Yeah. That's when I built the PC I had.
Oh, wow.
That was the reason I built it. Was oh shit, Diablo's.
So you basically just build a new PC every time there's a new Diablo showing up.
Basically.
Yeah. You know, that's totally reasonable. Like, if that's your game of choice, that's totally reasonable they do come out that infrequently.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, new Call of Duty, time to build a new PC. But so the 2060 Super came out in June 2019.
Okay, so yeah, that one is a little newer then.
Year and a half old card, or almost 2 years, but still.
And frankly, all your other stuff is new enough that like in 2 or 3 years, if you really wanted to, you could probably get a 3080.
Yeah, and just swap out the card, and everything else will be fine.
Yeah, swap out the card, maybe add more RAM someday, and your hard drive's going to be fine. Your processor's going to be fine for a while.
Yeah,
I mean the biggest concern would be the motherboard at that point, just to make sure everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's the chance that the updated video card wouldn't work, but I feel like they have been pretty good about that.
Generally, and if you just got this PC, it probably has a new enough motherboard that the 3000 series cards are going to work in it.
Yeah, and honestly, because I don't even remember if customizing or like picking a motherboard option was a thing on Dell, and like I could have opted for 3060, I think they had, but that was going to be even more time and $400 more or whatever. And I was like, I don't really need that. I'm already like going well over the recommended specs for the Diablo 2 remake, so which I'm going to imagine Diablo 4 is not going to be too much more than that. I was like, I think I'm good. But yeah, it's nice. I'm curious how fast my audio for this is going to save today. That's going to be the next thing to be like, oh hey, look, that was fast.
I desperately need to follow in your steps and get a new PC. I actually get a discount through HP with work. So I'm like, as much as I don't like HP, I might be looking at just getting a pre-made decent HP. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know.
I also don't know that HP does anything that you'd be able to really like game with. It'd be basically an office PC.
No. They have their Omen series.
Oh, I didn't even realize. So, that is how little I like HP. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah. AAA, you get a discount with HPs on, so I was looking at them for a little bit, but
like, I keep going back and forth, build a PC, get a pre-made, or get a laptop, and it's just
don't
like
get a laptop.
It's just I'm just like all over the place right now with what I want.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do pre-made, I would definitely either like go Drew's route and do Dell, because Dell does make like quality stuff for the most part. Or go like Origin. Yeah. Because like they're what people wanted Alienware to really be.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with your PC, Drew?
Now that I have a good PC again, I keep thinking about, do I want to play an MMO? And then I go no, and then I go, do I really want to though?
You can play all. You can play all of Final Fantasy 14 through Heaven's Word for free.
That's actually kind of tempting.
That's a solid thing to do, because that all of that story. And that's what I ended with was like one patch before the end of Heaven's Word. I want a new PC to play my old games, and Valheim, because I can't, with my processing issue, I don't know if I can really play Valheim anymore. And honestly, 7 Days to Die, I've been wanting to play that so bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I played a whole bunch of Hades, was like the first thing I booted up at all when I got this PC. That game looks so fantastic on a 4K TV, running on this, like, there's a reason. I agree with the reasons that game keeps winning all the Game of the Year awards. Because it just won another one, like last week, the DICE Awards.
It won like 12 at the DICE Awards.
Well, and it won the overall Game of the Year from the DICE Awards.
Yeah, it won like Game of the Year, like Direction of the Year, Adventure Game of the Year, like, yeah, it won a bunch of fucking awards there. But Richie, you should just treat yourself. Buy a PC.
We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few months.
Look, man, Dell and shit, they all have financing plans.
Which is true, and that's kind of what I might be leaning on, is just getting one of those pre-mades with a financing plan, because I think I could afford up to $150 and try to get it paid off as soon as possible. I'm kind of, and I know this is like being very hopeful, but my fingers are crossed, even though I don't think to talk about it, hoping that there might be potentially another stimulus, because if there is, then that's exactly where it's all going to. But I doubt that.
Yeah, it seems like things are kind of on like an uptick at the moment. I don't see them doing that.
Another stimulus would mostly be based on how long it takes for the unemployment market to change.
Yeah.
And so if people still aren't able to find jobs or whatever, or get back to jobs, then they're probably more likely to send out more.
Yeah. Anyway, though, there were some changes to the Resident Evil 8 Village demo for May.
Yeah.
So people were kind of upset about the shitty time frame that they gave, where it was an 8-hour window to play the game on PS5. So Capcom has extended the final demo window, which it's still only an hour of game to play, but you will have from May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time until May 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
So it's 24 hours.
No, it's like
a week.
Never mind.
7 days. Yeah.
I for some there's so many 8 p.m.s that I heard it May 8th at 8 p.m. to May 9th at 8 p.m. Too many 8s in this story.
Yeah, so rather than it just being a 24-hour window for that final demo on all platforms, it'll be a week. So you will have a week to play this hour. It still looks like it's only that 1 hour, so once you're done, you're done. Like, you can't go back in and redo it unless you like make a new PSN account or Xbox account. Yeah. But at least there's time. Like, not everybody is going to be available on May 1st.
Yeah,
overnight.
Yeah.
I completely forgot and honestly didn't really have the time to play the first demo because it's just like it was 8 to 8 and I was busy that whole Saturday and I was just like, all right, I guess I'm not playing it.
Yeah, and I actually forgot about the second one.
Yeah, me too. And that was this past Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was busy this past Saturday too.
So I will probably dip in sometime between the 1st and the 9th to check out the latter half of it. I'm curious if it's, I'm assuming it's just straight through. Like, you will just have an hour to go from, like, point A to point B.
I have a feeling they'll let you choose.
I mean, that would be nice, but if they let you choose, then it might only be 30 minutes per section.
Maybe. Well, you'll have to wait and see, basically.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that is actually good news, because it's just giving people a chance to actually check the game out. Because, yeah, like, even though this final one was going to be 24 hours, like, the first into the second, I believe that would be Saturday into Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody was going to be away or, like, just unavailable for that weekend, like, they're fucked. Like,
yeah.
They don't get to see it. And that then impacts Capcom's potential pre-orders for the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Rich, I'm assuming you added this. I didn't know this even happened. I did not notice it on any of the news stuff. So, there was a Monster Hunter event?
Yeah, it was yesterday. At 10 in the morning, Eastern time. So yeah, it looks like that's what they're going to be doing, at least through the release of Stories 2, is having an event every month, because they're going to be releasing content for Rise every month, and then probably giving new information for Stories 2 every month. I have now boiled down to just talking about it anytime these updates come out. I'm not going to bore you guys each week with what I did in Monster Hunter. Moving forward, I'll only talk about when the new content drops come out. And if, like, it takes me more than a week to get it all, maybe I'll talk about it the next week. But we'll see. But yeah, they had a whole, like, announcement event. They started off with Monster Hunter Stories 2. They had some new, showed off some of the gameplay mechanics and story information. They have a really interesting battle system. So it's an RPG in a Monster Hunter world, and you play alongside monsters. So, like, your party makeup is your main character and their monster companion. And it looks like you can swap out the monster companion in the middle of battle. And you can swap out your weapon in the middle of battle. I'm not really sure how that works. But they have a system where it is basically a rock, paper, scissors system, where if you and your monster choose the same attack, I guess your monster attacks randomly. If you choose the same type of attack, so say you're both rock, you do, like, a combined attack. But if one of you is a scissor, the other one is paper, you do your separate attacks. It was an interesting style. Cobb, I think with the art style being all chibi-like, and with this RPG element to it, I think you should check out the demo for it, or the trailers that they released. You might be interested.
I've seen some of the trailers for it. It's, like, it looks fine. I still don't think it's something I necessarily want to spend money on just in the off chance, because, like, the world just generally doesn't grasp me too much with Monster Hunter either.
I mean, I don't think it's really connected to the prime Monster Hunter world. But I don't think the story is, like, really connected.
No, I didn't mean like this. I meant, like, general, like, the setting isn't anything special to me. Like, I'm not really interested in the lore of Monster Hunter.
But so they started off mostly with that, and then they went over their new update release for Rise, which came out today. But it was actually available at like 8 o'clock last night in Eastern Time. It comes with 3 new Elder Dragons. Well, not new, they're all returning. Kusha Leora, Chameleos, and Teostra. They incorporated a Apex Rathalos and Apex Diablos. So they're like harder versions of the original monsters that at launch of the game, you could only encounter Apex during the rampages. This update now makes it so that you can encounter Apexes outside of the rampages, which is nice because the rampages kind of suck. But that was like what they built their game upon, so they kind of needed to.
Well, that's annoying.
They're not that terrible, but like
you just said they suck.
They do suck because of like it's a tower defense, but it's poorly set up, and it's not all It's not all automated. So if you're playing solo, you can only have up to 5 auto ballistas, 3 auto cannons, and 2 other auto something. Like it's limited to that factor where you then have to jump around to your placements and use them. So if you're playing solo, it's kind of rough. If you're playing with other people, it's not as rough because you'll have 4 people, 2 to 4 people, like jumping to the different placements and trying to like keep them from breaking through each of the zones. So like,
okay,
they're not terrible, but they suck solo most. And one of the final bosses you fight, you can only fight in a rampage, so that's like kind of a pain in the ass. But it's nice now that like these Apex monsters, which you need to fight to get like to power up your weapon, you now don't have to do the rampages. You can just fight them in normal quests. They also, without announcing, stealth released Basilgeuse, who is the B-52 monster from Monster Hunter World. I fucking love him, and I'm so happy they put him in this one. And then, obviously, with the new monsters, there's new gear. They're incorporating new event quests. The equipment is monster-based as well as layered. They also, there's a weapon that you can get from downloading it. You have to, like, do a quest to get the recipe to make it, but it is a sword and shield weapon with 100% crit chance. Yeah, I'll let that sink in for a second. 100% crit chance.
But it's still not going to feel good to hit things with, right?
I mean, that's your decision. I am now I haven't tried sword and shield in this version, so I don't really know. But
well, who did you want to start with? Score Bunny or Grokey or the other one whose name I can't remember?
That's Pokemon. Pokemon.
You said Sword and Shield.
Oh, well, that's the weapon is sword.
Oh,
yeah.
Look, I was excited. I thought we transitioned to Pokemon.
No, we're still on Monster Hunter.
Oh, well, never mind.
I honestly would have liked if you went to like Digimon instead of Pokemon, though. That would have been a cooler kind of.
But there was not a Digimon Sword and Shield.
It would have been funnier where if he heard Sword and Shield and we were talking about Monster Hunter, if he had went to Digimon just to mix up everything.
And thrown in like War Greymon or something like that?
Agumon and stuff like, yeah. See? But yeah, there's a Sword and Shield weapon that is 100% crit, which is like, we're not sure if it's going to be used in the primary meta or not, because Sword and Shields are supposed to be mostly for like status and not really for raw power, but we'll see. They also did a handful of bug fixes. There was an issue where people were getting repeat items with their melding. They should no longer be getting those repeat items when doing so. And they released the roadmap for the next update, which will be at the end of May, which is adding, quote, a new ending and additional story content, plus monsters. So, I got to play a little bit of some of the new stuff. It's nice that they increased the hunter cap, the hunting rank cap, and I got to see some. I haven't fought any of the new monsters yet because I need to increase my rank to get to do them. But it's not hard. I did like 4 or 5 missions and I increased my rank by 8 levels, so I only need like 4 more. So it's not that bad. But yeah, I'm excited to see what new sets I can make and see what the new meta for weapons and stuff will be, and equipment and stuff will be in this one.
Cool. All right, then. So like speaking of updates, Mario Party on Switch got an update.
An update?
Yeah. This game came out in 2018 and Nintendo is actually still updating it.
I mean, people like Mario Party.
They do. It's just, I don't know. It's Nintendo and they seem weird when it comes to updating their games after the first 12 months.
Like they're not updating Mario Maker anymore.
Or Mario Kart, or Splatoon, or basically any other game that had like an online component already.
What was? I mean, I don't really know if there's a need for. I mean, we could definitely use some new maps for Mario Kart.
That's what I mean. Like new maps in Mario Kart would be cool. They stopped doing like the global challenge things in Splatoon after the first year. I believe it was the first year. But the other thing that it not only did Mario Party just get an update, after 3 years it just got proper online play.
Yeah.
So it previously at launch it had the Mario-thon mode, which seems like it was just a random assortment of minigames.
Yeah.
And you couldn't invite friends off your friends list. Now they've actually put like the proper Mario Party mode, the partner party mode, and the free play mode into online gameplay.
Okay.
Not entirely sure if you can invite your friends, but at least you can play actual Mario Party online now.
That's an interesting choice to make.
Yeah, right? Like, I get people don't necessarily want to play Mario Party because it's a terrible game. But also, Drew, I don't know if you saw, but Dan just played Mario Party with Bacalar and his sister and somebody else.
I did not.
Yeah, like literally last night they played it on Twitch. So I'm sure that was just a fucking shit show.
Yeah, almost certainly.
But an entertaining one, if nothing else. But yeah, I just thought it was really weird that Mario Party got an update after 3 years. And like the update was to add online play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was a quick one. I believe both of you guys watched Mortal Kombat 2, right?
Yep, I did.
Yes.
You sound disappointed, Richie.
I am disappointed. I am very disappointed. Overall, the movie had promise. The fights were good. And in my opinion, like the sort of lore that they built up and some of the character building was interesting and good, but like the scripting was bad.
Oh yeah.
But also, it's a video game movie. What did you expect?
And I hated the main character. Cole.
Oh yeah, no, he made no sense.
I hated him. And the worst part, the biggest and worst thing they did in this movie, no one said fucking Toasty.
That means nothing to me.
They had to finish him. They had a flawless victory. They had a guy staggered and wobbling on the bridge over spikes, but no one said fucking Toasty?
They did say fatality, too. I forget if you said that.
I think I said that. But they didn't say Toasty.
Who the fuck even said Toasty in that game? I don't even remember that from Mortal Kombat.
When you uppercut someone, the guy pops up and goes, Toasty! And pops away.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't happen every time, though.
No, but it happened. Well, yeah. I mean,
it happens.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah. It happens often enough that I would know it, and the only Mortal Kombats I've played were Mortal Kombat 3.
And I don't think they've done that since Mortal Kombat, 2 or 3.
I think they started in 2, and it went for a few of them, but they probably haven't done it since.
I think they stopped doing it when they stopped using, live capture, digitized people, which would have been 4.
Yeah, but I'm just come on. If you're gonna give all that other fanfare with that, you gotta give it. His daughter said so many times, "Give him the uppercut. Your uppercut's the best," because the uppercut is the best move you do in the early Mortal Kombats. It's the only fucking move you do in Mortal Kombat. That
somebody doesn't know how to play Mortal Kombat. Damn.
Look, I made it through all the way to the. I beat the game just doing uppercuts
on the novice tier.
No, on probably a normal tier. It's not the novice, but I'm not a fighting game guy. You know that. I don't really care to do I don't have the thought process for all those combos and shit. That alls I do, I button mash or I hit if I find a move that works, which is a fucking uppercut. It works. I only ever saw the same 4 stages because I kept uppercutting them to the next stage.
Oh man. Drew, what did you think?
It was okay. I agree with all of Richie's criticism. It was a lot of fan service. Those were the only moments that were super entertaining. I liked Kano.
Yeah,
he was funny.
Did you guys see the meme going around where it's a picture of him from the movie and it says actor that portrayed Kano sent to hospital with injury for carrying the whole movie?
yeah, I saw that. I was actually going to send that to you guys today, but didn't. I forgot to. But yeah, it's true. The actor who played Kano, he carried that movie. I think Liu Kang was good as well, but
but he wasn't a good Liu Kang is the problem.
No, he wasn't. He was not a good Liu Kang.
So I think that's the problem. Is like I thought the movie was fun. Like it was stupid action and gory. Like when fucking Kung Lao cut I think it was Natara in half with his fucking hat. Like that was stupid and fun. I think that's actually when he said flawless victory.
It's when he says flawless victory. And look, don't get me wrong. My disappointment in No Toasty doesn't mean I didn't think the movie was fun. I'm just overall just bitter that they didn't say Toasty. But I did think the movie was fun, but it had some major flaws.
I think the movie had fun moments, but was not a fun movie.
Yeah, I think all the combat was fun, and it had like, or not fun's the wrong word. Like the combat was at least interesting to watch. And it's a shame because honestly, that opening sequence set that fucking movie up to be way better than it ended up being.
Oh, absolutely. That
like, if we could just have a whole movie of fucking feudal Japan, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion, that would be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, like that was my, like, I had seen that a few days earlier. Like they'd released that on YouTube and on Instagram, like that whole opening sequence. And I had watched it and I was like, this movie's gonna fucking awesome. And then you get past that part and it's just downhill.
Yeah, but it's one of those, like, the casting wasn't bad per se, but like nobody really stood out other than the guy that played Kano.
Yeah.
And it was just happened to be that like he had the most over the top fucking lines that it worked for him. But like the scene when he's fighting Liu Kang and like the training pit and Liu Kang just fucking keeps leg sweeping him. Like that scene was great because that's exactly what you fucking do in that game. You just keep leg sweeping people. And the fact that he jumped too early, landed, and then said fuck as he got leg swept again was just it was perfect because that was Mortal Kombat right there. But you had like the quote unquote villains they brought in, other than like Cabal, Goro, and Sub-Zero, like were useless. Like who the fuck wants to see Reiko and Natara in a fucking movie? Like I think they're from Mortal Kombat like 6. No one fucking played Mortal Kombat 6.
And then like I like the idea of making Scorpion like a hero and a good guy. But, like, you wasted like, I thought that actor did a great job with both being his feudal Japan self and then being Scorpion, even though you only see him for 5 minutes at the end. Like, I thought he was great.
Spoilers?
And you know, if it's a free movie right now, you can watch it.
Well, it's free if you have HBO.
Most people, I'm sure, have HBO right now. But it's just, like, he was a great standout character, but he's gone. He's done.
We don't know that.
Like, it seems like he
came back from hell once. He can come back from hell again.
I think that'll only happen if they go to Outworld in the next one, if there is a next one.
Also, the guy that plays Sub-Zero signed on for 4 movies.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah. If the movie does well enough that they do sequels, the guy that plays Sub-Zero is signed on, said he was signed on for multiple films. So.
And like, Scorpion in the games is constantly going back and forth to hell. Like, there's no reason.
I know none of the game lore. The only lore of Mortal Kombat I know is the 90s movie.
I mean, honestly, that's the biggest disappointment with this movie is in the last 10 years, from Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat 11, they have basically redone the lore to that universe. And, like, they have perfect fucking movie trilogy with those games. Like, you obviously change them so that they work as movies. But, like, yeah, like the Mortal Kombat has the best lore of any fighting game, period.
Oh, easily. I mean,
some of it's convoluted and stupid, especially when you look at the middle games, like the 4 through 8, that, like, no one really talks about anymore. But, I mean, like, you have the different Sub-Zeros, because you have original Sub-Zero, which I believe is Bihan from this movie, and then you have his brother, I believe, is the second Sub-Zero.
Correct.
There's all the other ninjas like Smoke, which I think was Sub-Zero or Scorpion originally. Smoke was a different ninja at one point, and then died and came back as Smoke,
and then died again and became a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have Cyrax and Cytor, the two, the red and yellow robots. You have Reptile, who they keep fucking in these movies by making him like a fucking lizard instead. Yeah. Which I think in the later games he was like some sort of lizard monster, but like
he's a full-on lizard now.
Was that Was that lizard, that invisible lizard, was that supposed to be reptile, or was that just supposed to be?
Yeah, he
No,
fucking
it's
turned
reptile.
invisible.
Okay.
And
I just
acid.
I wasn't. I just wanted to be sure. I just wanted to be sure that was supposed to be reptile.
Also, I thought it was funny that they had Melina, but not
But not
Katana.
Yeah.
Though I'm sure they will bring Katana in for like a sequel.
The fans were in the background.
Oh,
her-
you
her
know what?
fans.
I did see those. That's right.
There was a lot of shit in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the fight between Jax and Sub-Zero, there was on the one wall in graffiti was down forward low punch. Which is
Oh,
how
nice.
how you do the ice blast.
Yeah, and then like that whole end sequence where they were all in different arenas. That was all like besides Cole's, because like they had to just give him some backstory, I guess. Like they were all put into referenced Mortal Kombat scenes, like the bridge over the spikes. I
Yeah.
think like
Mhm.
the double team with Cole and Liu Kang versus the two that they were against. I can't remember. Like I believe that was like an arena in one of the Mortal Kombats.
Probably.
It probably was. I think they fought Melina and Cabal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. It was
But,
definitely
like,
Cabal. But...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Melina also, because Sonya
Sonya-
wanted to fight her, but she went after Kano instead.
And then
Yeah.
Like,
she teleports in at the end and
yeah.
marks her.
And I really liked the idea of like the reason they have powers is because they were chosen for the fight, not just they trained enough to get the powers. Like they're chosen for this fight, so they just got powers because they were chosen. Like
Though Jax's powers were a little fucking goofy. Like, come on. Like, his powers were he grew better robot arms.
yeah.
Also, did you recognize Jax, Rich?
No. I
fucking
think,
James from Supergirl.
was it?
Yeah.
I think the whole time I was like, he looks familiar, but I didn't like look him up or anything. And I meant to look up a lot of the cast from that movie. just
Not a
to
lot of
see where
people
they're all
really-
from. No.
Like, not a lot of them are, like, from anything, like, particular. But yeah,
I didn't recognize any of the fucking names of any actor.
Mhm.
yeah, Jax was he was James Olsen in Supergirl, though. He definitely bulked the fuck up for this role. Liu Kang, or not Liu Kang, Kung Lao I recognized from somewhere else too. And the guy that played Cole was actually in that show, Enter the Badlands, I believe it was called, the AMC show.
Into the Badlands.
Into the Badlands, thank you. But yeah, the two characters I was kind of most disappointed with, though, were Raiden and Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, I don't think those actors did a bad job. They just didn't really get to do anything.
Yeah.
And frankly, why didn't they just use Cary Tagawa for Shang Tsung again? Like, he was the perfect Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
And, like, it's his skin in Mortal Kombat 11. And I think he did, like, one of the television series in, like, 2011 or 2012. Like, I know he's older now, but, like, fuck it. Like, he doesn't have to fight. He just has to be there. Your soul is mine, and suck out a dude's soul.
Yeah. If he ends up fighting, which I don't, has he ever been he's been a playable character, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like, if he ends up fighting, that's when you like body double him and just.
Well, no,
impose-
his whole thing is he can fucking shapeshift.
Yeah. So then you just make him shapeshift to a younger version of himself.
No, you make him shapeshift into another fighter and have him fight as that person. Like, seriously, you have it as Cary in this one. In the next one, because he ate fucking Kung Lao's soul. The next one, he fights Liu Kang as Kung Lao.
I thought that whole Kung Lao soul eating part was just the worst part in that movie.
I mean, it wasn't great. I don't know if there were worse parts in that movie, but
It literally made no sense how like why Kung Lao couldn't just fight back, and like it took him so long to eat his soul, and I was just like, somebody there had to have been able to stop that.
Yeah.
well,
agreed,
they all got
agreed.
teleported away. The only
What's that?
people, everyone got teleported away before it happened.
No.
No. Sonya was down by the rocks with Jax. Liu Kang was fighting.
Liu Kang watched it happen.
Yeah, Liu Kang watched it happen. Like,
So I remember Liu Kang was fighting Cabal and went running. I thought everyone started getting teleported away by Raiden as his soul was getting eaten.
No, it was
No.
his soul.
Liu Kang came back like from fighting Cabal to see him
Yeah.
watch his soul being sucked out.
Yeah, and I
And
think
didn't-
Cole
and-
held him back.
But why? Like why?
Yeah. Why?
Why
You could've-
not try to? Why would he not try to intervene?
Like-
Why would
like,
he not
They
throw
had
a
to
fucking
they
fireball
had
at
to
him?
lose somebody.
Well, I mean, Kung Lao has always been... I think some of the lore I do know is Kung Lao always dies early. Or has died early.
Well,
and
he is actually from the past. He is not a modern hero. He is actually one of Liu Kang's ancestors.
Yeah. And I think in the original 90s movies, I think he also...
He was not in the original 90 movie.
He's not?
He might be in Annihilation, but that's a bad movie.
I think he was in Annihilation. I remember Kung Lao dying. My head is always like Kung Lao has always died. That's all I can remember.
Like, Annihilation's very bad. Yeah. So, like, it's possible. I am double checking. Oh shit, I forgot Nightwolf was fucking in Annihilation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be who I was thinking for.
It does not have Kung Lao on the cast list that I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. Also, why didn't they let Ed Boon do the Get Over Here? Scorpion said Get Over Here, not in Japanese. Fucking let Ed Boon do it. He's been doing it for 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
It's unfortunate. The movie, I keep saying the movie started out on such high note with that intro fight, and it just went.
Yeah, I had fun with it, but I would not write home about the script at all.
No.
And the acting wasn't great, but that could also be down to the script not being great, and I think the director is a fairly fresh director. Like, he probably doesn't... I don't think he has a lot under his belt as, a director. So, that's a hard thing to do when you're first getting started, especially with, a big-budget movie with a lot of CG that you have to, get people to, dance around.
Yeah. It's, I feel like the acting was really hurt because of the script. People keep turning around it's a video game movie. It's a video game movie. They can still have a good script.
Dude, Rampage wasn't bad.
Look at Sonic. Sonic was look at Detective Pikachu and Sonic, both video game movies, both really good scripts, both good movies.
Yeah, I mean, they are not as good, but both the Rampage movie and the 2017 Tomb Raider, were they were not bad movies to watch.
Yeah, there wasn't overacting in those or anything like that. There wasn't just a bad script. It all worked together. This one, it just was it felt like too many different pieces just combined.
Yeah. I do hope that they do get to make a sequel. I hope they get somebody good to play Johnny Cage. Mm-hmm. And I hope they bring in some more of the actual recognizable fighters from Outworld. Like a Baraka. Obviously they have to add Shao Kahn in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Sindel or something like that.
The female Goro.
Right, I know who you're talking about. I don't know that character's name, though.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Kintaro, the other four-armed dude that came in Mortal Kombat 2 or 3. There's a lot of characters, and I understand why they picked, 2 characters from the later games that no one gives a fuck about.
Because they could kill them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Though, Drew, I don't know if you've seen it, and you can actually answer this question. I keep seeing a lot of people want the Miz to play Johnny Cage. Would that make sense?
Oh, he would be a really good Johnny Cage, honestly.
Okay, I know what he looks like, and he definitely has a look that I could see him being Johnny Cage. He's big, he's built,
he's got that cocky, smarmy attitude. Already part of his thing is he has sunglasses that he takes off and puts on very cockily.
Is he a heel?
Oh yeah.
Has he ever not been?
Yes, and he's terrible as a beast. He's so much better being a dickhead heel.
See, that's the one downside is you want somebody that can go both ways because you want the Johnny Cage that actually has a character arc.
Sure, but I think Miz could easily be a likable character given not shitty WWE.
Okay, that's fair.
But also, he's definitely better being, the slightly pompous, look how great I am kind of guy.
Which is definitely what you'd want in the first movie, at the very least.
Yeah. You would want him to be, I'm Mr. Hollywood, I'm this big star.
Man, all I know is that dude got his start on The Real World New York in 2001.
Sure did.
But I know, I think he was tweeting about it, and then Ed Boon actually said, yeah, that guy, he should be him. But I've seen some other people say that some fan casting sort of thing for Zac Efron, and I like Zac Efron. I think he's actually very funny, but like I don't know that he would like. I feel like he's not big enough for Johnny Cage.
I think he could pull off a great Johnny. I think he could be douchey enough and like that all of himself kind of guy to pull off a great Johnny Cage.
Oh no, like that is 100% true. Like he actually pulls off that like conceited asshole really well in movies.
Yeah.
And he's also very funny, but I don't like even when he gets like really bulked up for like movie roles, like I don't feel like he has like the height and stuff for like what I picture Johnny Cage being, like an action star. Though I mean Tom Cruise is like 5'2" and he's an action star, so you know, like what the fuck do I know?
Mm-hmm.
Like Tom Cruise can barely reach door handles. But yeah, Mortal Kombat. It's out. It's on HBO Max. I think it's worth watching.
I feel like, and this is going to be stupid, but you guys might agree. I feel like this movie would have been better suited having been released in the summer. This is definitely a summer blockbuster movie, and I think going up against some of the movies that have been released and some of the media that's been released, like Falcon and Winter Soldier and shit like that, like just didn't do all that well. But
it's the highest first weekend streamed HBO Max they've put out.
Is it really?
Outdid Godzilla vs. Kong.
Wow, I did not know that.
So
yeah, I think it's
wrong.
also I think it might be the highest grossing movie in theaters right now too. I know it's the highest grossing for the week, but I think even like internationally it might be. Though Godzilla and Kong may still have that.
Though I don't disagree with your point that it felt like a summer movie. Like
yeah, it was to me. I'm like, although it did well, I feel like it could have potentially done better in the summer. But that's just it's definitely for me. It's a summer blockbuster. It's a movie that if you're having a barbecue, put that on in the background.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if this was a normal year, like as a summer blockbuster, you wouldn't be watching it in your house.
Yeah,
you'd have to go to the movie theater for it.
Yeah, true.
Real quick before we move on to the next thing on the list, did you see that there's rumor that NetherRealm might be making a Marvel fight?
That would actually be kind of cool. Like the DC ones are real good.
And someone I forget, I saw it on Twitter. Someone or fairly credible tweeted out that rumor, and then someone else replied to that tweet with a video of Ed Boon being asked about making a Marvel game, where he said something and he was like, maybe I shouldn't be saying anything. So that's the kind of, like, he gave a very this is a thing we're working on, but I shouldn't say anything answer.
That sounds like Ed Boon.
But like Warner making a Marvel game, like.
Oh wait, is NetherRealm actually owned by Warner?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Like that completely slipped my mind. It makes sense now though, now that I think about it. Yeah, that would be weird. I mean, hey, fucking PlayStation just made an Xbox game.
This is true.
Like, the fuck do we know?
Yeah, exactly.
So our next Universal Monster movie might be Son of Kong.
Interesting. I don't know. Like I think I've said this in the past. I know little to nothing about Kong, so I don't really know how this could be.
I mean, honestly, like this is such a different take on any of those mythos.
Yeah.
But it's Adam Wingard, who directed Godzilla vs. Kong, is in talks to direct this movie. And that's really all we know. But the one thing I thought would be interesting is I got the impression that Kong is the last of his kind.
Yeah.
Even in Hollow Earth, like it seemed like all of the other Kongs were gone based on like the ruins he found, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So like, does he find a Lady Kong, or does he just find like another gorilla-shaped Titan?
Cub, I've been watching all of the Godzillas. How many times have I mentioned that Godzilla has a son, and he's the last of his kind, or the only of his kind?
Reptiles can produce asexually. Look at Jurassic Park, look at Godzilla 98.
What's the fun in that?
I'm just saying. Like, for reptile, like, there are ways around it for reptiles. For a mammal, especially a mammal that closely related to humans, I guess cloning, like, they could clone him.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a bunch of different reasons as to why. Like, maybe it was thought that his species was dead. Maybe he was just stuck on Skull Island because he didn't have direct access to Hollow Earth.
Yeah, we don't know how big Hollow Earth is either. Like,
it's supposed to, like, they keep changing it. The fact that they had to go to the Arctic in Godzilla vs. Kong to get him to Hollow Earth, even though, like, they kept saying that Hollow Earth there's tunnels all around the Earth, in order to get to places faster, and that's how like Godzilla was supposed to move faster and everything. Like it really doesn't make a lot of sense what they're doing with this Hollow Earth. That like, yeah, they thought maybe all of Kong's people are dead, but now Kong's alone in the center in the middle of the Earth.
No, the people are down there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like not alone, but like Kong's down there. He might actually, yeah, there might just be more of his kind. He might have just been stuck on Skull Island.
Also, to be fair, like the reason they went to the Arctic for it is because that was a known entrance that they had like that research facility built around. I think like the underwater like cave ruins were supposed to be like a hint at that in the last one.
Well, yeah, like that was supposed to be part of Hollow Earth, I believe, because they actually entered into a quote portal, like kind of thing to get into Hollow Earth. That's how they ruined their firing mechanisms in their submarine, and why Serizawa had to go and blow up the bomb himself. Like that was supposed to be Hollow Earth. So like they've changed what Hollow Earth is now 4 times or 3 times from Kong Skull Island, King of Monsters to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, that's fair. But who knows? I just think it's interesting that they were kind of like on their way out with some of these movies because King of Monsters didn't do as well as they wanted. But now it looks like because Godzilla vs. Kong did pretty well that they're back on track and they want to make more of them.
Yeah, like I feel like they need to stick with just Godzilla, just lose the whole major human story. Still have something, but lose a lot of what they've been doing and just have Godzilla and Kong just fight giant monsters. But also, like, Kong movies are completely different than Godzilla. So, like, it is going to be something completely different. And maybe drama will work better in this Kong movie. They generally don't work that great in the American Godzilla.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. But moving away from that, you watched the Train to Busan, something like that?
Train to Busan. It is a Korean zombie film. And I've heard it's from 2016, I believe it was made, and they actually have a sequel that I think came out last year called The Peninsula. It takes place several years after this one, and it is this movie is the start of a zombie outbreak. A hedge fund, a guy who works for a hedge fund, and his daughter are on the train to a city in South Korea called Busan. To bring her to her mom for her birthday. And in doing so, like there was a chemical outbreak in a laboratory that caused the zombie outbreak to happen, and then just shit goes crazy. And to be honest, probably one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. They do so well with making the zombies scary by making them runners, but not making them too overpowered by making them blind in the... Which, like, that is a hard thing to do with zombie movies, is making a good zombie scary, but not too deadly. It's like, yeah, you can have this thing that won't die unless you shoot it in the head, and it can run and be all scary and evil, but, like, you kind of have to, like, give it some sort of weakness, and they do a good job with, like, utilizing the like, blindness and darkness, and making their hunger sight-based. So they only go after humans if they see humans. So if they don't see humans, they kind of just stop. And they're sight and sound based. It was really cool, and it's a really good zombie movie. That like by the end, I almost started crying. And this is why I love watching movies subtitled, because you can actually hear the feeling coming from the actors, the original actors. Whereas like a lot of voice actors, especially older voice acting, not a lot of voice actors, but a lot of older voice acting, they're just very dull and monotone. Whereas like, so like you don't really get to see a lot of the emotion, which is what I've seen in a lot of the dubbed Godzilla movies. But this was just, it was so good. And I'm probably going to watch The Peninsula this weekend. Just these have been movies that have been on my list of things to watch. And I was just like, I had time because my PS5 controller was near dead. So I needed to kill a couple hours while it was charging.
I thought you bought 2 so that you could use the charging dock.
No, I have the charging dock, but I usually just put my controller in there when I'm done. But I've been forgetting to do that lately. But I only have one controller.
Oh, for some reason I thought you bought 2.
No, I mean I bought the one and then regretted, or I got the charge dock and didn't get the second one and regretted it ever since. But never actually had the chance or the time to get a new one because I think they're still hard to get now.
I think the controllers are a little easier to get, but not like, by much.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not often that like I'm running out of juice in my controller. This is like a one-time thing. It was just like, you know what? I need to take a break anyway. I'll watch something and let it charge. It worked out in my favor. But yeah, Train to Busan, it's such a good movie. And if you like zombie movies, you'll probably definitely like this.
That's fair. I think, it also comes down to, was it dubbed?
No, subbed.
Yeah, so, it depends if people want to watch, a subtitled movie or not, too.
Yeah, I honestly feel like, I don't know if they're ever going to dub it. It's on Amazon, and it's on Shudder, if you have Shudder. I don't know if they're going to dub it. I think it's only ever going to be subbed.
I mean, you're probably right, and honestly, live action movies dubbed just don't tend to work very well.
No, they're not that great. I really feel like it, I think they do a good job of, when they're talking, there's not it's like a lot of animes. When they're talking, there's not a lot going on, so it's easier to double take and read and know what's happening.
Oh, that's cool.
Because that's how, I don't think I haven't analyzed too many movies that are in English, but, a lot of movies, if there's shit going on, the vocalization you hear is screaming and yelling and fear. Or, cheering. There's not a lot of, mid-punch talking happening in...
No, I mean, that is true. Usually, heavy dialogue is not usually while... things are happening. It's even when there's a fight going on with dialogue, the punches usually happen, or the dialogue usually happens between the punches.
Yeah, or the fight that's happening during the dialogue isn't as important as the fight that's happening outside of the dialogue.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like this is, especially for you, Cup, because you do this kind of horror stuff, and it's not full on a horror film, because I see zombie movies as not as much a horror film as it is its own little genre. I feel like you might enjoy it. I know it, even with the subtitles, and Erica might enjoy it too, even with the subtitles.
Yeah, she's hard to get to watch anything subtitled.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds interesting. I'm usually not really into zombie stuff though.
Yeah.
I really don't like many zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
But this one sounds interesting.
It's good, and the next one, called The Peninsula, takes place 5 years after. And it's they have to go into the quarantine zone where all the zombies are to get something, and it seems interesting. It's just, to me, it was really, I've heard a lot of good about it. There's also an animated, an anime kind of thing for a prequel.
Nice, cool. So Richie, all of your hopes and dreams have finally come true. How I Met Your Father is finally happening.
I mean, I don't know. It's because it's a spin-off, but it's not really a spin-off. It's a successor, spiritual successor in a way, because it's not going to be about the mother character from How I Met Your Mother.
Well, that was only the very initial pitch for it. When they were originally developing it, it got away from being that very quickly.
Yeah,
because this show has been pitched, I think 3 or 4 different times with different bits of development happening.
I think there was actually a season made and released, but it didn't do good.
No, never got made. The actual people running this variation of it are the same ones that have basically been on it from the beginning. They were the ones that have been pitching this show since How I Met Your Mother's, I guess, final season, I think, is when it really started to pick up.
Yeah.
And then the How I Met Your Mother creators are executive producers, so they are involved with it too.
Yeah.
It's going to star Hilary Duff as the Ted Mosby character.
Mm-hmm.
She will be talking to her son sometime in the near-ish future, telling him how she met their father in 2021 when, everyone meets everybody on, dating apps and shit now.
Yeah.
It's a very different world for that sort of thing, even than 15 years ago for How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother started with them still having foot phone.
Yeah, exactly.
So there wasn't dating, I think it was season 2 or 3, or maybe both, because I think it happened in season 2, but then it was called back in season 3. He used a dating service where you used to actually have to go and give them your information, and they'll find you.
Yeah,
a partner.
Yeah, I remember that. And you figured that show started in 2005, so the iPhone didn't come out until season 3.
Yeah.
And even then, they weren't widespread. Smartphones weren't widespread until probably season 5 or 6.
And, they didn't touch the online dating scene even later on. There was one instance where he met somebody online, and I think that was the episode that he couldn't remember her name, so she was just called Blah Blah the entire time.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And she made up this whole big story about how, because it was like taboo to meet somebody online, but it ended up being that like they met each other on like WoW or some shit like that. It wasn't even like
because even then, like the dating sites and stuff and apps were much more prevalent by 2014 when the show ended.
Yeah,
but like the last 2 seasons, like Ted wasn't really like focusing on that stuff as much as he was in the beginning seasons anyway.
Yeah, I think it was so what was it, 8 seasons?
It was 9 seasons, and
9 seasons?
The entire last season was only 2 days.
Yeah, so I think it was like season 6 or 7 when you meet blah blah.
That sounds about right.
Cause
like probably like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, because most of season 8 he was dealing with Janice. And then season 9 was only those 3 days.
Yeah, and like he had that one whole season kind of in the middle where he was with Stella. So
yeah, like season
4 or 5, I want to say, was Stella.
Stella was Stella. That's right. That's Elliot. I was thinking Victoria. Yeah, Stella was like 4.
No, Victoria was like 6 different times.
Well, Victoria was season 1.
And then she came back in like season 5 or 6.
7.
Was it that late?
I believe it was 7 or 8.
Jesus. I mean, you've watched the show like 6 times, so you know better than I do.
I actually watched it maybe 2 months ago or a month ago. I believe it was season 7. Because that was the summer, the fall of breakups or something like that, where Barney had Nora. No, Barney had his
Quinn.
stripper Quinn. Ted had Victoria, and what's her name? Robin had that dude, but I can't remember his name.
Cal Penn, right?
Yeah, right. I don't.
I mean that was
buff.
the actor. Oh no, never mind.
He was the buff guy. Who was like the chef, the TV chef host.
When did she date Cal Penn?
Who's Cal Penn? Oh, that's that might be season 6.
Because it was when Ted bought the house that season.
It was
working on the house at least.
It was when I think it was when Barney was dating Nora, so season 6.
Okay.
Because that's what got her to be crazy, because she started to be in love with Barney again. I hate Robin. But yeah, How I Met Your Father. I mean, I'll check it out for the first 10, but I'm not like gonna get too pumped about it.
Yeah, Hulu gave it a 10 episode order, so like it's definitely happening. Unless, I mean, I won't say definitely because they could still cancel it if it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
But odds are we will have at least 10 episodes of that on Hulu probably next year.
Yeah, and I don't hate Hilary Duff, so
honestly, I've never actually seen her in anything because like. What was she in? Lizzie McGuire, right?
Yeah, she hasn't really been in anything that would be on your radar.
Yeah, like Lizzie McGuire was geared towards younger girls when it was out, and like I was not a girl, and I was older than that age bracket to begin with. So
yeah, it was on Disney Channel when I was too old to be.
Like I was gonna say, you probably saw it just like your sister was probably the right age for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But. Yeah, so like I don't know that I've ever actually seen her act in anything.
Mm-hmm. She's not terrible. Like she's a decent actress. But I honestly can't remember for sure. For some reason, I have it in my head that she's kind of a Karen right now, or has been a Karen. That like that's why I'm not really all that thrilled. Like she kind of sucks.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah, I don't know.
So how about Falcon and Winter Soldier?
That ended so well. It was such a good series from beginning to end, but it ended so well. I
do feel like that last episode was rushed a little bit, though. Like, I feel like they could have just used one more episode.
Yeah, I can see that. Not even one more episode, maybe like 10, 15.
I just think with like one episode, they could have just really kind of tied everything up and given everything a little bit of time to breathe.
The second to last episode was 10 minutes longer than the last episode.
Was it really?
Yes.
Huh.
5 to 10 minutes longer, something like that. That like I really feel like they could have just, if they gave it that extra 5 to 10 minutes.
I mean that may have been enough. I think like there was just enough story going on that like that one extra episode would have just let them. It could have had a little bit more of a like. I liked it. Like I do not think it ended badly. I just think it could have used just like that one more episode just to sort of tie everything off neatly.
Yeah.
Because some of those things just felt a little rushed at the end.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but at the same time, like you don't want to give them too much time for things that really didn't need. Like fleshing out a little bit more of American Agent would be nice, and maybe
U.S. Agent,
not American Agent, and giving us more of Carter would have been nice. Like, giving us a little bit more about her, but at the same time, like, leaving us off with those mysteries and those little, like, Easter eggs or whatever. Not really Easter eggs, but little tidbits and cliffhangers. Like, I feel like it works fine for what's going to be developed in.
Yeah, but even then, like, I think it could have used just because they definitely seem to be taking Walker in a different direction than he is in the comics. Like, in the comics, he's actually just a giant douchebag.
Yeah.
He is a hero for the most part, but he's also just a giant douchebag.
Yeah.
And, like, this Walker, like, he definitely had, like, his anger issues, but, like, he comes across more as, like, he actually does mean well.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have just done a little bit more with him outside of the actual fight scenes and had, like, some sort of just confrontation, but not necessarily a violent confrontation with him, Bucky, and Sam. Like, not them, like, fighting or arguing or anything like that, just, like, them kind of in the same vicinity to each other, not when all hell's breaking loose. After all hell breaks loose, obviously.
Yeah.
Because, like, that whole end sequence was super exciting with him, you know, like, wondering whether he was going to actually help or be a douchebag at the end, like, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a really good job, and I really appreciate that, like, Bucky went out of his way to stop at, like, Walmart on his way to Sam's Cookout and pick up that nice pre-made, like, bakery cake from Walmart.
Yeah, like, that's the funny. You're going to a Southern Cookout and you're stopping at fucking Walmart or ShopRite or whatever for that fucking cake.
Let's be real.
That is,
like, the dude doesn't even have a bed to sleep on, so he probably doesn't know how to make a cake. He's only been himself for about a week at this point. Otherwise, he was on ice as a sleeper assassin for 70 years, and then he lived in a tent in Africa for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it, but, like, he could have gone to just a regular ass bakery or something like that. Like,
yes, and that could have been from a bakery.
No, that was from a Wegs or something, or like it was a supermarket.
I mean, honestly, they probably realized that that was probably like reshot. They probably realized like halfway, and it's like he showed up to this like family cookout, not bringing anything. Like, somebody run to the store and just like get like some baked goods.
Yeah,
like he seems like the baked good, like the pre-made baked goods kind of guy.
Yeah, it's, you know what, it's the thought that counts, though. Okay, like,
yeah.
He's still getting used to this.
Also, he's really just there to flirt with Sam's sister, so it's fine.
Exactly. There was a meme I saw earlier today, and it was showing shots of Bucky, and it was like him excited at the Science Expo, him mentioning he read
I know
Hobbit.
exactly what you're talking about. It was the first shot was from the first Captain America, where he brought his date to the Stark World Expo.
Yeah.
Him excited at the flying car that they showed at the World Expo.
Yeah.
Him excited at the Wakandan technology in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And then him arguing with Sam saying that he read The Hobbit in 1937 when it came out because it was published in 1937.
Yeah, and it was just him being like, it was like, Bucky Barnes, the first, or certified nerd. And I was just like, nice. I like that. He is definitely like a nerd.
Yeah, they really did do a really good job with that show, though. Like,
yeah, they did.
I feel like it did take a little bit of a hit by coming out second, because WandaVision was such a hard thing to follow up because it was so different. It's not like it was better, it was just so drastically different that it's like, following that up is kind of like, oh, fuck.
I feel like it would have been better placed either second, or like either first, or with more time between the two. So
it was supposed to come out first, remember?
It
like,
was.
Before the pandemic, that was going to come first, but it got delayed a few times because of COVID stuff, where filming got delayed.
They couldn't finish filming overseas. They had to bring everybody back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, it made sense that they didn't want to just keep sitting on these shows, so they put WandaVision out first.
Yeah.
Like, they're both super high quality, and, like, I noticed especially in that last episode, like, a lot of the, like, action sequences, they were filmed like a movie. Like, they were not filmed like a TV show.
Yeah.
Like, that was really stuff that you would expect to see in one of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. Like, that, like, they're not pulling back just because it's a 40-minute show on a streaming service.
Yeah. It was good. And the title card change at the very end was awesome.
Yeah, I like that they changed the final title card to Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think it would have been even just like a little bit cooler, but also funnier if it was Captain America and the White Wolf. But Captain America and Winter Soldier also work.
Yeah. But yeah, they did go with that, and I'm excited to see where they go more. Which but brings up the last news story. It looks like Marvel is developing a Captain America 4. With the showrunner from Falcon and Winter Soldier writing the script.
You know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for and I saw this earlier. It's supposed to have. I think this was rumored though. It's known that it's going to be Sam as Captain America. It's going to be Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and it's going to co-lead with Bucky with Sebastian Stan.
So there haven't been any confirmed details yet. Like, Marvel hasn't released anything. They haven't even 100% confirmed this movie.
Okay.
But come on.
They're developing it, is what they're saying. Like, they haven't, like, because, like, basically in movies, like, developing doesn't mean that it's happening. It means, like, they're trying it. They're seeing if they can make it work. But, like, they're definitely going to make it fucking work.
Yeah. Unless they're just going to turn all of their Marvel MCU stuff into TV series or Disney Plus series, there's no reason why they wouldn't.
Exactly. And it makes sense. It makes sense that they waited until after the season to announce that they were developing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's cool that they're using, so Malcolm Spellman was the head writer showrunner for the series. And then he's writing the script with another writer from the show, Dalan Musan. So, like, two people that, like, worked on these characters for 6 hours worth of television, give or take.
Yeah.
So, like, and I feel like they have a pretty good grasp on them. And, I mean, the Marvel stuff has so many people overseeing it to make sure that it fits that, like, you never like to worry about that so much. But I think, like, these guys did write these characters really well in the show.
Yeah.
So giving them a movie to do it with should be cool, because it'll get to be one, like, continuous 2.5 hours rather than, like, 40-minute chunks that kind of have to get, like, separated by something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to who they're going to go with villain-wise. I don't know a lot of Captain America villains or Marvel villains, but, like, their already pre-made villains are all dead. Like, all of the known Captain America villains besides Zemo are all dead.
I mean, there are other Captain America villains. I'm literally drawing a blank on them right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
like, I'm talking more like Crossbones has been dead since Civil War. Batroc just died at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier. Sorry,
did
spoilers.
he die?
He was shot in. It's assumed he's dead because Carter shot him. I can't remember her first name.
Sharon
Carter shot him because he was going to kill or I think he was going to kill what's her name, Carly, or he was going to kill Falcon. I can't remember, but he was shot by somebody.
I remember him being shot, but I don't remember him necessarily being dead.
He fell to the ground and didn't move, so
mean, that happens sometimes.
They also didn't, like, bring him and lock him up or anything. They didn't show anything with him afterward. It was
That's
just,
true.
To me, it's assumed. It's safe to assume he's dead.
But also, like, when Sam was Captain America in the comics, like, he fought different villains. So, you know, like, they have stuff to pull from and honestly, like, Marvel has so many other villains that, like, at a certain point, like, their whole roster of villains are kind of, like, there for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, every hero has fought basically every villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be interesting. And I've got to say, so, like, going into, like, the like Endgame, I still thought Bucky should be the second Captain America, because that's just how they did it in the comics. But I think, like, this show in particular just showed that, like, Sam actually deserved it more.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like, they showed him being scared basically of that role, but then, like, making it his own.
I like that they cleared it up in the show that like, Bucky knew that Cap was going to do that. Yeah, that too, because that was kind of like that, like, dangling thing of, like, why wasn't he a little more upset? Yeah.
But also, like, I know we only get, like, the 30-second scene of, like, them talking and, like, him giving Sam the shield at the end. Like, it's not like Steve dropped dead on the spot right there.
Yeah.
Like, they went and they had coffee at a diner afterwards and, like, chatted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how everybody in Falcon and Winter Soldier is like, oh, Captain America's on the moon and stuff like that. Like, they don't know that, like, oh, he retired and is old now. They're just like, oh, he's on the moon, or he's doing a moon mission, or some shit like that.
Yeah, they just, like, no one knows what happened to Steve Rogers. They just know that, like, this black dude had the shield, and they can't have that, so let's give it to, like, their number one soldier who ended up losing his goddamn mind when his friend got killed.
Which, I don't know if he would have lost his mind if he didn't take the super soldier.
I think if his friend got killed, he still would have, but he would have just gotten his ass kicked.
I feel like he would have had more control, at least, and wouldn't have murdered. No,
because if you even look back before he had that, like, he was breaking a lot just because he couldn't keep up with some of these people. Like, I want to say it was after the fight in the apartment when he got his ass handed to him by the Wakandan guards. He was, like, kind of sobbing, like, they weren't even super soldiers.
Yeah.
So, like, he was in over his head. Like, he got talked up by, like, the people in charge that he'd be able to do this without probably realizing what a fucking super soldier and what some of the elite fucking people in their world can actually do.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, Batroc probably would have kicked his ass before he took the super soldier serum.
Probably. Oh, I'm sure, probably.
Like, honestly, the fact that, like, Sam and Bucky had so much trouble with him is kind of a shame. Like, Sam's not a fighter. Like, he's basically learning to fight.
Yeah.
Like, he was like a paratrooper, basically.
Yeah, he was
like, he was a get in, get out.
He was, like, search and rescue and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, Bucky was on the front fucking lines with Captain America and then spent decades as an assassin. Like, that motherfucker should have been able to snap that dude's neck without trying.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he has a robot arm made out of vibranium.
I love that in the buddy scene, or the buddy episode, the second to last episode, where, like, Sam's like, why didn't you use the robot arm? He's like, I forget I have it. I'm a lefty.
Oh, right, when he was doing the stuff with the,
Yeah,
with the ship. Yeah, I like how that one point when, like, because he comes by later and, like, Sam is, like, trying to pry the thing up and he just uses the robot arm to just rip it all off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they all get in trouble for taking apart the engine or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, that was a good series, and I'm excited to see if they actually, which they should, Captain America.
Yeah, I hope they do a 4, and I hope they do another season of this too.
Yeah.
Like it would be cool to have, like, Captain America 4 and then have another season of now Captain America and Winter Soldier.
I don't know if they'll do that.
They probably won't, but like that's what I would like to see, because having these characters, especially because they're not planning, like, an Avengers movie anytime soon, having these characters only pop up, like, once in a while in their own movies is just a bummer, because they're finally get a chance to actually explore them, like, longer form.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like these shows, like the WandaVision, this one, and Loki are good, like, interludes for, like, figuring out what happened post-blip for these characters, but, like, once we know now we know what happened and Sam is now Captain America, I think the next phase is going to probably start with Captain America. Like, they haven't really announced anything beyond this current phase.
No, exactly. And honestly, they might try and squeeze Captain America 4 into this phase.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But
before we move, were we going to move on?
Yeah, I was going to move on to the next thing.
Before we move on, I can't remember if we talked about this. Did you watch the Shang-Chi trailer?
I did not. I've just been skipping most trailers at this point.
It looks good. The kung fu and fighting looks.
Like, I'm gonna see the movie, so
yeah. And Simu Liu, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I think he's gonna do good. He's great in Kim's Convenience, but that's a comedy. So
his Twitter's fun to follow because, like, he keeps, like, pulling out things that, like, people have, like, that he's found online that are kind of like either like Kim's Convenience, like Shang-Chi, like, crossovers.
Yeah, that was I saw that one where it's like all the 10 rings are all characters from Kim's Convenience. I loved it.
And there's another one where he's holding the Shang-Chi action figure and an action figure of the X-Wing pilot that is his dad's. Yeah. That is his dad in Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
And that was funny.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, there's going to be MCU movies coming soon. Black Widow is in July, so.
Black Widow's July. Shang-Chi is later this year. Should still be later this year. They haven't changed it.
Isn't Doctor Strange 2 also this year?
There was supposed to be... the other one. Immortals.
And Spider-Man.
No. Maybe Spider-Man? but I know for sure there were 3 Marvel movies this year. It was supposed to be Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and The Immortals.
It's The Eternals.
The Eternals.
Doctor Strange is March of 2022.
Yeah.
The Eternals is November of this year.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man might have been moved to like December of this year, but they might have changed that.
Shang-Chi is September, so we'll have July, September, November, and then No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I can't just type that. I need to type. Oh no, hey, there we go.
December 17th for Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was a. So I'm on Bing right now because I like the points. Bing's like little like sidebar thing for it still shows the release date is July 16th. Apparently they didn't pull the update.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But yeah, so there are technically 4 movies.
4 Marvel movies, 3 Marvel series that came out this year.
And I don't think there's any more DC stuff this year.
No, I don't think they actually. Black Adam, maybe?
Oh, you know what? Black Adam may be like December also.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got coming up DC right now.
Trying to find a date for it. No, it looks like Black Adam may have been pushed back to July of next year.
Okay. That might have been the only other one for this year or at all. And it's just...
Actually, isn't the Batman still due out this year? Like late this year?
You see, I forget about that one because I don't think it's part of the DCEU.
No, that one is also March 2022. Are there any... The Flash movie? No, that's
there's no release date. I don't even think they started filming.
But you know what? They keep doing all the other stuff, like the casting news and things.
Yeah,
that is November of 2022. So yeah, I don't think there are any DC related movies coming out this year.
Yeah,
Suicide Squad or
Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's right. That's August, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, August 6th.
Which honestly, like the trailer for that actually looked like it might be pretty good, and like James Gunn did a good job with Guardians, so...
Yeah. They started filming the Guardians holiday special.
Or he at least finished the script for it.
Yeah, something like that. They finished the script or finalized the script or whatever.
But
We're like... have that soon.
Yeah.
Venom 2 is also happening this year, apparently.
Which, I mean, that's like its own weird thing, because it doesn't really connect to anything.
Does it? No, I think it was Morbius, right?
I think that's gotten pushed back till next year also.
It did, but I think that was supposed to connect with Spider-Man.
No, it's still all of it's like Sony's like non-MCU related stuff.
But wasn't Michael Keaton in it, or isn't Michael Keaton in it playing Vulture?
I don't think so.
I could have swore that
Michael Keaton may be in it, but I don't think he is playing Vulture.
The movie, what's the character called? It's Morbius, right?
So he will appear in the film, but he has not been. It's not been confirmed what character he is playing.
Okay.
Yeah, because for the the way that it seems to be is Spider-Man is connected to the MCU. So until that deal breaks, Sony can keep making all of their side movies, but they cannot interface with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sony still owns all of their other characters related to Spider-Man, like Venom and Morbius and shit.
Yeah.
So they can keep making these movies, but they can't reference or tie into the Spider-Man movies at all yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I forgot about that one. That one is... Oh, that one's just January. So that one actually isn't that far away.
Yeah.
I also keep forgetting just how many fucking people are in the Suicide Squad movie.
Right.
There's so many fucking people in Suicide.
Yeah, like, like Idris Elba, John Cena, Sylvester Stallone, I forgot, is the voice of King Shark.
Yeah.
Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, I was gonna call him Old Man Doctor Who because I couldn't remember his
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. So Peter Capaldi is the Thinker, which was the villain from that one season of Flash.
Yeah, but I think he's not supposed to be a villain in this. He's supposed to be like, quote, a pseudo, I guess, a hero or like I don't really know.
He's on the Suicide Squad.
Is he part of the squad?
Yeah, he like literally on Wikipedia he's listed as a highly intelligent supervillain.
Oh yeah.
I think the only person who's not like a supervillain per se would be Peacemaker, which is Cena's character. He is Captain America turned up to 13.
Yeah.
It's a fitting role for Cena.
Which honestly, that's what, like, one of the best lines in that trailer was when somebody tells him to eat a bag of dicks, and he responds with something like, I would eat an entire beach full of dicks if it would save somebody's life. Or, like, it was something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That movie should be interesting. But enough of that. How was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla?
You know what? Probably it's one of the better movies of this era so far. I don't think I still think that GMK is better.
Which one is that?
Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Okay.
I think that one was better, but I really enjoyed this one. They again rebooted Godzilla again, where this was back to Godzilla attacked in 1954 and they killed him using the oxygen destroyer, but somehow a new Godzilla just emerged and was attacking Tokyo and Japan. And so they used, which was, I like that they went this route, because it was kind of similar to what they did in Godzilla vs. Kong, but they used the skeleton of the original Godzilla they killed in 1954 as a basis to create Mechagodzilla. And at one point, the new Godzilla roared while Mechagodzilla was trying to fight him, and like the Godzilla cells in the skeleton and stuff took over the machine, and the Mechagodzilla started going on a rampage in, I believe it was Tokyo. I can't remember what city they actually were attacking at that point.
Isn't it always Tokyo?
No. It's a bunch of it's not always Tokyo. Generally,
I thought it was always Tokyo.
Generally, it'll be Tokyo, but it's not always Tokyo. Like they go all over the coast.
Okay.
But like Tokyo is just the most known city, or probably the biggest city in Japan, I guess. That Tokyo is always a target, but they tend to, like, if Tokyo gets attacked once, it doesn't get attacked again. It'll attack somewhere. But yeah, I thought that was cool, and that was like, oh wow, they kind of did like a like what they did in Godzilla vs. Kong with Mechagodzilla, sort of, except it isn't Ghidorah's bones, it was Godzilla's bones. And when Mechagodzilla was evil, he had the red eyes, similar to what Mechagodzilla had in Godzilla vs. Kong. But Mechagodzilla still had fucking yellow eyes the entire time. Still fucking bitter at the fact that he didn't have yellow eyes in Godzilla vs. Kong.
You know what I really wanted to fuck with you on after, like, I thought about it? I thought about it too late. You posted that picture, I think it was when you were watching the movie.
Yeah.
About his eyes. I really wanted to, like, respond to that message. Be like, dude, you know those eyes are red, right?
Eyes are yellow.
And just kind of fuck with you, make you think you were colorblind.
You know what? That's fine. At least that would explain as to why they did. Like, I know it's stupid.
It really is.
To pick apart that little thing. But, like, at the same time, they do everything, all this other stuff to reference the older movies across all three of these Godzilla films. They couldn't have just kept his eyes yellow. Especially because the reason he turned on humans was because it was the mentality of King Ghidorah. It just would have made sense for his eyes to turn yellow. Yellow for Ghidorah. Like, it just would have made sense.
Yeah, but red is more menacing than yellow.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, whatever. I don't know, it's just, it's silly, but it's like, when you do all these other callbacks, you should stick with it. To me, you should have just been like, alright, let's make his eyes yellow.
No, you just get nitpicky over the weirdest shit, like not saying toasty.
Look, you guys get mad at me for not being critical on things, and now you're getting mad at me for being critical on things.
You just pick weird shit to be critical about.
You know? That's what I want to get critical about, though. I went on a rant about how the zombies in Train to Busan were good zombies because they weren't too powerful, but were still powerful and scary enough. Like, you have to get, like, kind of critical on the silly. Like, if otherwise that could potentially, I don't know, not always could make or break a movie, but it's just one of those, like, little things that I'm just like, they should have done that. It would have made it. It wouldn't have even made it a million times better. It just would have been like, oh, I love that thing, and brought a little bit more joy. But Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, it was good. It was also kind of weird at times. That's a Godzilla movie, especially a Millennium era Godzilla movie. But it was I'm interested to see what happens in Godzilla Tokyo S.O.S. Godzilla has a huge scar on his chest right now because they, like, shot a laser point blank into his chest and it somehow didn't shoot straight through him. It was a freeze laser too, so it somehow didn't work at all. But it was good. It was the fights were better than a lot of the other fights in the past two eras. And it was nice to see like another good movie after the first two from this era weren't that first few.
Yeah, it's always good when like the movie doesn't suck, right?
Yeah. And like luckily this wasn't a movie that I was looking forward to. It's just a movie that it was in the line to watch. Like if say like Final Wars or Shin Godzilla end up being shit, I'm going to be so upset because like these are looking forward to. Whereas this one was just a movie that's in the line that I want to watch.
And I think the next one is the S.O.S. one, right?
Yeah, Godzilla Tokyo S.O.S. I believe,
which has a completely different name in Japan.
I guess so. I know you sent us this message last week. But...
Yeah, like this week's the Godzilla against Mechagodzilla was just Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in Japan. And the next one is like it's like the last one where it names a bunch of monsters and then says Tokyo S.O.S.
I mean, that would make like Mothra is in this one. Yeah, and on Wiki, it's released in Japan as Godzilla X Mothra X Mechagodzilla. Which I mean, and it has the cosmos in them. Fuck. I like just looking at the what's it called, the poster on Wiki. I can, it's got the cosmos, which means they're gonna sing, and it's just, oh my god.
Oh right, they're the Mothra little alien girls that speak for it.
Yeah. Or at least that's what they were in the 90s era. They were the Cosmos. In the 60s era, they were just like, they lived on the same, they like worshipped Mothra on Infant Island. Trying to see if the wiki says who they are. The wiki doesn't say who they are.
Well, it'll be a surprise for you on Saturday.
Yeah. There's a post-credit scene in this one.
Well, that's exciting, isn't it?
Which I think there was post-credit scenes in the last few. So these films started the post-credit scene style.
Yeah, I guess they do predate like most movies that were doing that.
Let's see. Shobijin is what they're called.
I mean, that means nothing to me.
Yeah, it means nothing. But they're the Cosmos. And I always get so bored when Mothra is a lead character in a movie. This is probably going to suck.
It happens.
Mothra wasn't too bad in GMK because they didn't have the Cosmos. But they have the Cosmos in this one, and so I'm just not going to... Oh, man. Why? Okay. Well, I'll talk about this next week.
That works. That's probably a show, though, unless either of you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, not this week.
I mean, I played more Horizon. That's about it.
We'll talk about that once you actually, like, complete it.
Yeah, I think I'm not too far from completing it, but with the Monster Hunter update, I'm probably not going to be playing it.
Well,
much
how far have you gotten?
I'm about to head into the next I just made it to the castle on the mountain.
Like you're exiting like the Pride Lands or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, and I'm on my way to Medina, the big city.
Like the first city out, like where the nomads or whatever are from.
Yeah, but that's like half the map is already uncovered or more than half the map is already uncovered at that.
I don't know, like that. You are literally where I am in that game right now.
Yeah, I honestly don't like. Drew, and you can say more to this than Cobb, but like from where I'm at, it doesn't seem like there's a lot more to like. There's gonna be a lot because it's an open world style, but story wise, if I were to just stick to the story, it feels like there's not more than 5 to 10 hours.
About how many hours do you think you've played?
I don't know. Probably 10 hours, maybe more.
Yeah, I get it.
But that's being completionist, doing everything, getting everything. Like, and I still have a few quests. I have to go back into the Sacred Lands before I head towards Medina, and then I have to do the DLC as well.
Well, all right. So, just looking at how long to beat, it looks like the average. Oh, well, this is for the.
Well, that's what edition this is.
Yeah, it's the complete edition. So it's got the DLC.
Like they're saying that's 30 hours.
But is that doing everything, or is that just
No,
story?
that's just the main story.
Oh, wow.
Oh, all right, here we go. 22 and a half hours for main story.
Okay.
And then, so, another 8 to 10-ish hours for DLC,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, it feels like I'm traveling along this map a lot. Like, where the next location is, like, 1,000 feet, I guess. I don't know. It's the footprints. 1,000 footprints or more away. That, like, I'm just like, I'm sitting here looking at how far I have to travel, and I'm just like, yeah, this map is big, but why am I going? Why is there so much nothingness in between?
So, like, going from, like, where the mountains are into, like, where everything is, like, towards the City of the Sun or whatever it's called, there's a bunch of, like, not a bunch, but there are, like, bandit camps and other things to explore when you go off the beaten path.
Yeah.
So, like, there is a bunch to do between, like, point A and point B.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do them all. Honestly, it might turn into me going and uncovering the entire fucking map before I go to the next city, because it's all available right away, so why not just do it and get it all done with, so then I could just do story.
Yeah, it looks like, so that, it's about halfway through the quest. The main quest is where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't include, like, all the side stuff and all. So you actually probably have quite a bit left to go.
Yeah.
With the way that you play.
Yeah, like, I figure I have at least 20 more hours to play to do everything, but it's just like, to me, it seemed like there's a lot to do, but story-wise, it seemed like how far I'm traveling based on how big the map is, I felt like, man, I'm getting, like, at least halfway into the story already, and I feel like I didn't really do much for the story.
Yeah, that's one of those games where, like, the story is definitely a little more streamlined as far as, like all the quests seem to be fairly, like, they're short quests that just lead one into the other a lot of times. Yeah. But, like, a lot of that game is exploring, like, the whatever those, like, the tomb things, whatever they're called, the weird factories and
the cauldrons.
Yeah, thank you. Like the cauldrons and the bandit camps and all that stuff.
I like that the training areas, you can get an additional skill point if you get Rising Suns in all of them. So like you're the best at all three of them.
Yeah,
I like that. But like the first one, I couldn't clear one of them in the first training area. I had to go back a few times to try it before I actually had the proper equipment, essentially.
Yeah, some of those things are hard until like you're kind of like equipped for it, basically.
It was they wanted you to knock off 10 canisters off of off of grazers.
Yeah, I remember that one.
They wanted you to knock off 10 within a minute or something like that.
And it's fucking hard to do.
And I'm like, I can't even knock 10 arrows in a minute, let alone shoot. But then, like, I realized I had the shock arrows, not the shock, but like a shockwave arrow that you just throw them into crowds and it just throws them off like it's nothing. So like, I placed a few electric traps and then started firing into the crowd. And then when they would hit the electric traps, if they still had them, I would bust them off on them. And I got the 10 within 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's not bad then. I usually don't go back to those things, but I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I wanted the skill point.
That's fair.
I'm like almost level 20, and I'm like, I don't really have a lot of skills unlocked, so I need to get all the skill points. That's
I think I'm level 18.
Yeah.
Because when I finished Tomb Raider this past weekend, or last week, or whenever, and I like dipped back into that because it was one of the only other things I already had installed on my PS5.
Yeah.
And like I ran around in that for a little while, and then I think I jumped over to Arkham Asylum after that. But
I think that's the show.
Yeah. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, you can support us by going to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. Those things all help a whole bunch with metrics and algorithms and junk. You can also find us on social media. We are facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.